guys, I promise we're about to get to the topic of this whole video and stuff, but right now we're just outside making some dinner. We got some chicken on the grill. Chicken's done up over here. We got this gorgeous view right there of Pikes Peak right behind me, and we're in downtown gear. It's like close to 8 o'clock. It is actually 8:03, and we have inside. Here's Kane. Here's Godry.
Dude,
making some pancakes or what, dude?
Making your pancakes. Okay.
Oh, those are mine already?
Yeah, dude. Look how much you made. They got enough
Sweet.
pancake mix for the whole department at this point.
Then we got Kane right here, straight from Ramstein, Germany. All right, guys. So we're right here. We're about to get to the topic of this video, but let us cook some dinner. You know, relax a little bit, and I promise it'll be right around the corner where you get all the info you've been waiting to hear. What's going on here? Damn, chicken, pancakes, stack of pancakes thanks to Godry.
You always get me when I'm eating.
He got his ass choking.
A little ASMR. Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Egg, sure, man. I'll take.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second part of today's video. Me and Randy, we're in the Crash 3, heading down to the fire department training grounds. We have to go watch a contractor who's doing some work down there. The reason for that is he doesn't have access to be on this side of like the flight line area, so we just have to watch him, make sure he doesn't do anything wild.
Got engine 22 up there too.
Got engine 22, the whole Station 2 crew's going down there. We have a 2-hour shift to go watch him, and then we'll head back. While we're down there, we might film a quick Q&A. A lot of the questions you guys have been asking, we got them written down, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so we just got to the fire department training ground. There's our live fire aircraft trainer. So basically there's propane lines flowing through it. They can control several different fires that we can practice on. So we're here to relieve Crash 4 and Crash 6 that are already down here. And there's the contractors over there working on the live structural trainer. They're just working on the gas lines for the live burns.
Got our vehicle.
We also have our vehicle trainer right there. Same thing. There's propane lines that flow through it. Control several different fire scenarios.
Alright guys, what's going on? So we're here at the fire station and we're in the movie room. It's currently 10:30 right now, and we're about to knock out this like some of the sort of things that we figured that you should know before joining the Air Force. Fire protection, or kind of like Air Force in general, sort of. So we're ready to knock it out. We made ourselves a nice little list here, and this is just like reference, just in case we read some stuff. So one of the big misconceptions that people kind of have when coming into the fire protection, or like whenever they kind of are dedicated and like are in the DET program that they're going to be a firefighter and stuff, is that they're going to be fighting fires all the time, and that's really not the case. It's really kind of like base dependent. I get that question a lot. It just depends on the base that you're at, how much action you're actually going to see, whether or not you're really running optimal calls of actual fires and stuff like that. So would you agree?
I would agree. So if you look at like our base in particular, most of our buildings are fireproof, so they're all brick, concrete buildings. They're not really going to catch on fire. The Air Force's fire prevention like system that they have is so good. Like base-wise, fires are very minimalistic, but like he said, we do get mutual aid calls, and I know other bases like Alaska, for example, I have friends there, they get a lot of mutual aid off-base fires, so it's kind of base dependent.
Yeah, so you're most likely going to catch an off-base fire or like an aircraft rather than like a building fire on a base. And another huge thing that I would have loved to know before I came in was how firefighting schedule worked. Like, one, I never even considered being a firefighter. Two, I didn't have any knowledge on people who are in the fire service except for one person, but I never bothered to ask what their schedule was like. Three, like, my recruiter didn't even know much about it, so I just didn't have that information. I didn't even find it online. There's no other YouTubers out there and stuff like that. It was just kind of hard to find what the schedules were. And if 24 hours like on, people kind of get the misconception of like, oh, you're at work for 24 hours, you got to stay awake the whole time, and that's not the way it rolls. Like, you have your own bed here, you have your own room, and you sleep when the time comes, whenever you're allowed to, depending on, you know, like whatever's going on that day or whatever, if you're 3 level, 5 levels, stuff like that. It just really depends. And some bases run 24/24, like here, that's what we run. Some bases 48/48s, 48/72s. It's really base dependent. Like, I didn't know we weren't going to be able to catch, like, sometimes you won't be able to attend the holidays with your family. Sometimes, you know, manning's not that good, so you're not going to be able to take time off. It's just, would you kind of agree? Like, if you kind of would have known that, maybe it would have changed your mind a bit?
Yeah, it's definitely different than any other job experience you might have had where you work an 8-hour shift and you go home, get to hang out with your friends and family. It's a different lifestyle.
Yeah, so like you could be coming to work on the weekends, the whole base is down, nothing is moving. In the morning, you're getting to work at 7 a.m. Everything's really quiet, and then the firefighters and like security forces are pretty much the only people out there moving around, stuff like that. And it's just because your emergency services, like mission vital, essential personnel that just need to be at work, and you're constantly just in and out rotating every so often whenever your shift ends. But I feel like that would have played a huge impact on my decision on what my career would have been. Don't get me wrong, like I like what I do now, but like if I would have known I wouldn't get holidays, weekends, and stuff like that, that would have been a major decision that I would have like came across, whether of choosing this career field over another. You want to talk about the educational workload of this?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people kind of have the misconception like, hey, I'll join the military and I won't have to go to college after high school. It's kind of like I feel like that's a misconception, because when you get, for most career fields, especially our career field, when you get here, the educational workload is heavy.
I say, honestly, I have quite a bit of friends, and just from like word to word from other of my like superiors who know other people in other career fields, and me knowing other people in other career fields, we are literally the most, like, educational workload is on top of us so much as opposed to any other career field. Like, they have CDCs that they could finish within like their first year, never have to do them ever again, as opposed to like fire, or like some career fields don't even have CDCs. One of my buddies is airfield management, has no CDCs whatsoever. Like that must be nice, you know, like it's crazy. And firefighters, like, you have constant CDCs, like no matter from your first year in to your main priority 3 CDCs that you have, all the way to your 7 level, and you have like so many certs under your belt, you've been in for like 17 years, you're still gonna have CDCs that you gotta do in order to progress, because there's just so many positions, certifications, qualifications that you must have whenever you're in the fire service, no matter if you're the newest guy or one of the guys who's been in pretty much a seasoned veteran and stuff like that. There's always going to be a workload that you got to do, whether it's computer-based training, physical classes, stuff like that. Would you agree?
I would agree, yeah. So another thing too, like Air Force, where structural firefighters or airfield firefighters, some bases have wildland firefighters, and we're also medics. So there's 4 different types of emergency service that we're providing wrapped into one individual. So the amount of training and the amount of
hazmat,
the amount of hazmat rescue response, the amount of studying you have to do to keep up on all this is definitely something to be ready for.
One thing that I wouldn't have expected either before joining was how low the qualification standard is for Air Force fire protection. Like the ASVAB, for example, it's 38 to be a firefighter. That's the minimum score to get into the Air Force, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong, but if I'm not wrong, that's the minimum score even to get by in the Air Force. And I feel like that shouldn't be that shouldn't be the standard of to be a firefighter. I feel like a firefighter at least a 60, because you just have to have an abundance of knowledge in your head at all times. Either you have to be good at learning, or you have to be good at attaining. You have to be good at grasping all this knowledge that just thrown at you, because there's just so much, and there's so many people that are just getting kicked out of the career field because they're failing. They're not able to be a firefighter because they don't know what they're doing. They just can't keep up because the educational workload, really know exactly how stuff works. Stuff like that is just not an easy career field to come by. 'Cause like Audrey said, you got to be very well rounded in everything from all those sorts of different aspects of firefighting, on top of being really good with, you know, math and stuff like that for hydraulics. You also have to be good with, you know, like taking tests, because like I said, we're taking so many tests all the time, and that's not even on top of what the Air Force wants you to do. They want you to do their CBTs, they want you to do their training on the computer, they want you to take all these certain classes on top of your firefighting classes and firefighting CBTs. It's quite a bit, and I just feel like there should be a higher minimum rather than what it is right now in order to get by.
And the Air Force wants you to go to college too.
Yes.
Top of all of it. So it's just,
and the Air Force wants Air Force wants you to volunteer, and the Air Force wants you to do this, Air Force wants you to do that. And yes, that's cool, but like, you have to have a social life in there. You have to have your own life in there. And when you get off shift, you only have one day, because the following day you gotta go to work for the whole day until that following next morning. So it's pretty brutal. Like, you really don't want to stress yourself out and overdo it, but like at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do, because Air Force is first, and then second you're a firefighter. You know what I mean? So like, another thing too, kind of ties in with the schedule. One thing I would like, I guess I didn't know personally, but you do not get overtime. Like, I had no one, like one person in my family who was in the military. My aunt, she never really talked much about it. So like, also a couple of my cousins, but I never really asked them. They were in different they were in different branches and stuff. But you don't get overtime for like doing our job, you know what I mean? Like, once people, so think about it like this, everyone goes to work at 7 a.m., including us on this base, right? So let's say we all get to work at 7 a.m., people are leaving work at 3, right? 3, maybe 4, and we're still staying there, you know, we're staying there all the way till 7 a.m. the next day while people are barely getting to work. That's when we're leaving. We don't get overtime. That would be epic. I never thought we would, you know, do that, but we don't get overtime, stuff like that. So we don't get bonuses for staying late.
There's no like holiday pay to stay on Christmas.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to stay
even
after
if it's your birthday.
shift.
Like, I'm working on my birthday this year, and it's just kind of what you signed up for, I guess, you know.
Or
like,
if you get recalled.
Yeah, also, like, getting recalled, like, that's a big one. Like, you could be at home asleep, you gotta work the next day, but then they call you like, hey, I need you to come to the station right now if there's an emergency, or they're just doing an exercise, they need you to come in just to see if you can respond. Or if you're having a night out, you know, whatever you're doing, if you're getting recalled, you just gotta let them know your scenario. Maybe you might take a little bit of time, but you gotta show up and make sure you can get to work. And you don't get paid a bonus for that, like, you know, it's just something that you got to do.
Yeah, so there's not really a lot of information, at least I didn't really do my research before I joined. Even through tech school, I wasn't that well informed. Then when I got here to my first duty station, just seeing all the trucks that I was going to, 1, get licensed to drive, 2, have to drive, and 3, really have to get to know well, I don't know, it was pretty motivating just to think like, okay, so here I was a little less than a year ago, just in college, not really knowing what I was doing, and now here I am about to drive these very expensive
multi-million-dollar
vehicles on real world emergencies. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of I don't know what the right word would be. It's a lot of motivation, I guess, because you really do feel like you're contributing, and you're really making, I don't know, I feel like, you're really making a difference. That's the right word.
I just feel like, when I thought of firefighter, I was thinking about an engine, like, you know, a regular engine that you see, and I didn't think about anything. But then, like, once I got to tech school, I saw the rest of the vehicles there, and they only have a handful of vehicles. They only have, like, crash trucks and engines out there. Then you get to your base, and you have rescue trucks, ribs, you got hazmat trucks, you got all these sorts of trailers you gotta get certified on too. You got different kinds of engines, different kinds of crash vehicles, and it's just like, I had no idea that I was gonna be able to, like, even get the experience, like, to even be in one, let alone drive one, and then fully trust me and be qualified on them, take every single test on them. You gotta know the specs, you gotta know how to operate them. Basically, you pretty much gotta know, like, those trucks like the back of your hand, because when it comes down to it, they need you to drive. You got to know what you're doing, because if you go in an emergency, you don't know how to operate anything, it really reflects back on yourself and see like how much work you actually put in to know the vehicle itself. So it's just crazy getting the opportunity to drive like those multi-million-dollar vehicles, especially on an emergency where you can make a massive difference in someone's life.
And I think like with us, at least at this department, I'm not sure how it is anywhere else, there's no like crew or truck contingency.
Yeah.
So like usually you kind of bounce around from truck to truck, so you have to stay sharp on.
You have to stay very sharp
on any, because you could be on our first run engine one day, the next day you're on first run crash truck, or
you could be cross-manning to do both. So
on tanker, so you just have to remember how to use every button on every truck.
You literally do, because right now we're just so low manned from our team being deployed, where they literally have me driving a truck, but I'm also backseating in the engine, or one day I'll be driving engine and then still be driving a crash truck. Like, it's very difficult from like just from being low manned, and being also low manned kind of ties into not being able to take leave whenever you want. Kind of sucks on your scheduling. Like, I really wanted to take a day off this week on Sunday because I had family coming in, but it's just not gonna work because we're just so low manned. And even though we don't do anything on Sunday, or like very minimalistic things on Sunday, like it's still like up to manning and management to that point. But all right, guys, we're really gonna knock out this. This is a banger for me. This is one of the biggest issues that, not issues, but like just little things that kind of like grind my gears sometimes. And I wish I would have known about it, because I probably would have not picked this job. And I'm probably like sounding like you guys don't want to like join anymore. Like, my videos look super cool, but the information I'm giving you is kind of like contradicting with that. But at the end of the day, just go with the choices that you want to make and like what's going to make you happy and stuff. Even hearing the pros and cons of things, I'm going to be straightforward with you guys. I'm not going to lie. And I feel like you guys should know this. But as a military firefighter, right, it's completely different than any other job in the Air Force. So like, you could be busting ass literally all day, like all day, training nonstop. Then you gotta go back to the station, and you gotta do some other stuff, more computer work, stuff like that. It's just like a very like workload on your shoulders, and then you're gonna be getting paid the exact same as someone who's literally at a computer all day, or in the gym just hanging out, cleaning, equipment, or at the DFAC flipping eggs, or like any other job. And it's just like, I understand we each have our own job, and they're all like vital to the mission, and they're all a purpose, right? But sometimes like the work that we get put through is significantly much more as any other job like that I've seen personally. It's just like, we're really grinding, I guess you can call it. Like, I would have no other word to it. But there's just so much as far as education on you, as far as training on you, as far as what else would you think it was just thrown on you? Random stuff at the most randomest time.
Just stress,
getting called
too.
At night, like you can't even sleep properly because you just have to be like half asleep. Because if you miss a call, like you're gonna get in trouble. Like, there's no other way around it, unless it's your very first time. But even then, you're still gonna get in trouble. It's just like, it's kind of very stressful knowing that someone else is getting paid the exact same as you because they're the same rank. But it's kind of comes down to the military. It's the way the military is. You're gonna have your jobs that are just a lot more hard and like labor intensive, like mentally, physically, and everything, as opposed to something that was a lot easier. I wish I would have known that we'd be getting paid the exact same. You want to talk about how pay works, or you want to touch up on that?
I was gonna say,
touch
you
up
do.
on it.
So you do get out what you put in, though. So like, here we are grinding, but like the amount of certifications and experience that we're getting is pretty significant, I think. And personally, I would rather be doing what we do than, maybe some other job like cleaning teeth. I'm more interested in firefighting than like being in the dental lab. That's just me, though. So you just kind of understand you need to look at what jobs you're considering, take into consideration the workload, take into consideration what you'll actually learn from that job and get out of it, and just go from there. But yeah, so pay is based off rank. So If you're enlisted, obviously the higher you climb in the rank structure, you get a raise here and there.
Also, if you're married.
Yep. So if you're married, or you have a child, then you get the BAH. Certain jobs, like us for example, we can't eat at the DFAC every day, so we get paid BAS, which is basically a food allowance. Some jobs don't get that because they work in like a 9 to 5 job, and then they can eat at the DFAC for their meals, so they get that.
So like for a massive example for you people, I'm Airman First Class E3, so is Godry, Airman First Class E3. We both get BAS, right? Which is extra allowance we both get. But he's married and he also lives off base. As you guys know, I'm single and I live in the dorms. As far as my marital status, I'm single, you know? So I live in the dorms. I don't get BAH. He gets like what, an extra $1,500?
Yeah, but I do have to pay for rent.
Yeah.
I do have to pay for utilities. I do have to pay for insurance. So it's not like it's an extra free paycheck.
Yeah.
You're spending that money to live.
Yeah.
So
one optimal thing, I don't even know if I should be sharing it, but one optimal thing I know a lot of people do is like they'll split their pay, like let's say they're renting a place. They split their rent with another person. So say me and Gaji are renting a place for $1,000. We're each getting $1,500 a month for just alone for BAH, not including your paycheck. We split that place, so I'm paying $500, he's paying $500, and since we get $1,500 every month for rent, we'll be pocketing $1,000 each month on top of our base pay. So that's what a lot of people usually do, and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And that's why I'm kind of looking forward to live out the dorms, just so I could like save more money. Because once you're in the dorms, if you got bills to pay, people don't understand. If you're in the dorms and you got bills to pay, it's kind of hard to kind of rack up your money if like you try not to spend it. Like you got to be kind of wise on what you spend and how much fun you want to have with your money and stuff like that. You got to be kind of strict and really like financially smart. Other than that, I'm pretty much good with the information. What about you?
yeah, I think so. Just be mentally prepared and be physically prepared as well. You got to remember you're joining the military. If you're gonna also join the military and a career field like firefighting, fitness is no joke.
Yeah.
Obviously, we work out every day. There's PT standards you have to uphold. There's firefighting standards you have to uphold. I think a lot of people don't take that into consideration.
Exactly.
That's about it.
Alright guys, so that's some of the most important tips that Godry and I felt like we would have wanted to know before we joined. That's some of the information we would love to share with you guys. And like I said, we're being straightforward here. At the end of the day, it's your decision whether you want to be in this career field or not, whether if you want to be in the military or not. And we're just here to share it. We're here to be straightforward, show you the pros and cons of what we go through, and just keep life simple. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, I want to please encourage you to subscribe and hit that little notification bell. Truly means a lot. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. And until next time, we'll catch you on the next video.
How could I make sense when I got millions on my mind?